So I saw Marty Supreme. By the way, I've had that since 2018 when like Beautiful Boy came out. He just kind of lives in the crevice of the room, but sometimes, especially for a video, there may be an opportunity to use him, and I don't really see a better time than today. It's the end of 2025 and many films have now been released. We've kind of seen all of them, apart from the ones that don't release early in the UK for some reason. I mean, when the fuck is A Testament of Anne Lee ever going to make an appearance? That being said, a new film graced the cinema screens on Christmas Day or Boxing Day, depending on wherever you are. And that is a small little film that you might have heard of called Marty Supreme.
Yeah, Marty Supreme Christmas Day. Marty Supreme Christmas Day. Hey, Timothy, has anything interesting happened to you in your life the last couple months? Marty Supreme Christmas Day.
Marty Supreme is the new sports thriller drama film from Josh Safdie, one half of the Safdie brothers, who obviously gave us great films in the past like Uncut Gems, Good Time, Heaven Knows What, Daddy Longlegs. Very enjoyable films. So to say I was excited for this was kind of an understatement. Obviously, it stars our boy Tim Sham as well, so even more of a reason to be excited. There was a lot of speculation on this, with the Safdie brothers announcing that they were going to kind of split up and not partner together in directing in the future, with Benny going off to make The Smashing Machine and Josh going off to make Marty Supreme. Relayed my thoughts on The Smashing Machine. I thought it was fine. Not really anything remarkable. And then that brings us to Marty Supreme. I only saw the film yesterday, and I know this is probably a bold claim, but this is my favourite film of the year. After Chalamet lost that Oscar all those months ago for playing Bob Dylan in somewhat of a safe biopic, it was always important to sit and look at the future and go, well, it doesn't matter because he's going to be nominated next year for this Marty Supreme thing, but we don't really know anything about it. And now that more stuff has come out and it's finally out in the public and I've seen it and a lot of other people have seen it and it has all this acclaim, I can tell you without a doubt, this is my favourite film of the year. Marty Supreme follows Marty Mauser, loosely based off of the real-life table tennis player Marty Reisman, who was a player who was one of the best table tennis players in the world, but also like a really big hustler that basically was his own worst enemy to some degree. And obviously that's kind of a running theme in all of the Safdie's films, so you kind of know what I'm going to say about Marty Mauser in this as well. As much as the first 30 minutes kind of tries to trick you into this idea that this is just a down-to-earth basic sports film, as it goes along, the film grows to be so much more unhinged. It really begins to show its true colours as the characters also do the same thing, and it really proves to be one of the most special releases of the entire year and one of the most special films. I wouldn't even limit it to this year. One of the most special films I've ever seen in my life. I should probably kind of break down what it was that resonated so much with me and why I feel the need to really hammer in the fact that this is an amazing film that you should 100% check out. And I'm going to start off with the performances. You know, it's going to come as no shock. We know that this guy can, like, pull off some really big things. Obviously, Call Me By Your Name, Beautiful Boy, Dune, A Complete Unknown. Chalamet is known for giving really noteworthy performances, and I'd say a special thing about him as an actor and these performances is that they are all so different from one another. In one of them, he's a smug teenager that thinks he knows better and has his first love. In another one, he's leading an entire nation to war. And I mean, even in something that I'm not particularly fond of, like Don't Look Up, he still leaves a lasting impression on me as a viewer. And when I think back of that film, which I don't do all that much, his performance is still one that will pop into my head and go, oh yeah, he was in that. He was really good in that. Marty Mauser as a character and as a performance is completely different from anything we've ever seen before. Most of all of those characters I named before, whether he's a lovable idiot or just like a flat out heartthrob, it's obviously aimed that the audience is going to walk away and be like, well, he was a really likable character. And the special thing about Marty Supreme in this character is that he is kind of written to a point of being this unlikable dickhead that really just puts himself and his dreams in front of anyone and everyone else. And as the film continues to unravel itself, we kind of realize that we're not gonna shy away from this this really like disgusting character that will say the most outlandish shit, comparing winning a game of table tennis to the Holocaust. Like, he has some lines in this film that are crazy as fuck and had the whole cinema going like, did he really just say that? Keep in mind, he's making these jokes in like the 1950s, only a short period after World War II. So this is kind of like the equivalent of a guy making 9/11 jokes in 2002. It's really like distasteful at the time, but you kind of can't help but laugh as an audience member. Anyway, they go out with the whole limb of showing you this guy's unlikable, but just like all of the Safdie's previous works, you kind of end up rooting for him. There's a very intense scene near the very end of the film, which I realized at one point that my hands hurt because I was actually physically gripping the chair because I was so invested and really wanted everything to go well in this scene, which is, you know, something that's very hard to do, to make an audience member connect as hard as that, but it worked. Regarding supporting performances, Odessa Zion probably has like the most screen time after Chalamet. She's really great in this. I think she's beginning to kind of make a name for herself, and I would say she fits the roster very well in this, alongside alumni like Gwyneth Paltrow, who, you know, we know that she can give good performances. I kind of wish that she would act more, because she clearly is such a good performer despite all the weird shit she kind of does in real life. But, you know, whether that happens or not is up to her. And also some really great first-time proper performances for Tyler, the Creator, and Kevin O'Leary. I know that some people might not be happy me saying that because Kevin O'Leary kind of has a lot of shooters, and I can't really say I'm a big fan of him. Shark Tank isn't really a thing in the UK, so I don't know anything about this guy, but they both play their characters well, even if it's like kind of just an exaggerated version of a character that they kind of play in real life anyway. Tyler has a whole section in this film that is just him and Chalamet, and it's honestly maybe the most intense shit I've seen in the cinema since I don't even know when. It's just so unique to its own realm. Regarding the music as well, there's a beautiful score that is crafted by Daniel Lopatin. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but his score really does entrance scenes and lifts them, especially some of the table tennis scenes. It really makes them just feel that extra level of like theatrical behind them. And alongside the score, there's also a fantastic soundtrack that has been perfectly picked together and pieced, kind of Frankenstein, if you will. A lot of 80s picks here, like Forever Young by Alphaville, and honestly they do the same thing as the score. They just bring all these scenes, they elevate them, they make them feel so much more memorable to a certain extent, and it doesn't fall into a trap that many big films do, which is just playing songs that people recognize and kind of point and clap at because they're familiar with it and they like the song. The songs actually feel like they fit a purpose in here, and I think that's fantastic. It looks stunning. It's edited just about as well as all of their other stuff. You know, the editing's very quick-paced at times, jumping back and forth from characters during chase scenes or conversations that makes it continue to be as intense, anxiety-inducing as possible, which I understand that maybe you don't want something like that when you're going to see a film, but if you're going to see this, you're probably somewhat familiar with what the Safdies do anyway, unless you're like just a diehard Timothy fan and you're like, oh, I want to go and see this. That makes sense too, but you're maybe gonna leave a little bit overwhelmed. At the end of the day, Marty Supreme is kind of the film I've been waiting for from Chalamet. Just this performance that could go extra levels forward, and also just like the best movie of the year for me. I want to quickly talk about one or two spoilers, so, you know, if you haven't seen the film, then pause the video, go out and see it, come back and finish this, or just go and see it. That's the standing point for all of this, is just go and see this movie, support it, it's amazing. I've seen a lot of discussion about the ending of the film, with Chalamet kind of breaking down into tears, looking at his child that has just been born. I've seen some takes that I don't agree with, and some that I kind of do agree with. I'm still trying to make sense of it in my own mind as well. I know some people have kind of gone out and said that it's not a happy ending, him breaking down to tears, realizing that he can't really follow these dreams, like he's just kind of continuously moving the goalpost for himself until he feels that he's completely fulfilled. And personally, I don't really know if that's what I agree with. The way I kind of interpret it myself is that it's the first time in the film where we really see Marty Mauser as his real self, like the first time where he really realizes that the world is kind of bigger than just him, because obviously for most of the film he's looking out for himself, that's it. He doesn't care about anyone else. He treats everyone around him really poorly because he continuously is just trying to build up this dream that he really doesn't completely understand himself. So to see him break down in tears at the end, for me, was more or less just him kind of having this realization of like, you know, not every single thing I have to do in my life is orientated around myself, and there is actually other stuff going on, and you know, he really has emotions for this child that is his. So regarding any criticisms, there is one or two bits where the film kind of did feel like it dragged on a little bit, specifically a storyline regarding a dog. Only felt that very briefly. I checked the time on my phone and then put it away and then shot back on with the film. So really, there is nothing I can criticize about this. I'm so eagerly anticipating a second viewing. And in terms of Oscars, I do kind of think Chalamet's got a big chance. I would love to see him win. People kind of have been shitting all over the marketing for this in regards to how over the top he is and his whole pursuit of greatness and stuff, and people call it cringy. But for me, I think it's kind of deserved to an extent. Obviously, he's been around in the business for a very small period of time, but he has kind of proved himself to an extent of just how fantastic he is. And you know what? Maybe if you just hand him one of these Oscars, he'll like just chill out a bit. But then also maybe not. Maybe we do need more egotistical people in the world. To end off on a high note, Marty Supreme is the best thing I've seen all year round. It's finally dethroned One Battle, which quite frankly I didn't think would be possible, but I welcome it. If you haven't gone to see Marty Supreme yet, I highly recommend, because it genuinely is just like amazing, once in a lifetime kind of cinema experience. Especially getting in there early when the cinemas will still be quite busy. I think this would be a great one to share with an audience, and hopefully they're not all like big baboons that sit on their phone and yell or talk during the film, and you actually have a pleasant cinema experience, because I actually for once had a fucking brilliant one seeing this. So my end of the year list should be coming out by the end of this week on the 1st of January. That's what I plan. It's kind of almost done, so stay tuned for that. Let me know what you thought about Marty Supreme in the comments, if you have seen it, if you disagree with some of my takes, or you loved it just as much as I did. And I will see you in the next one for sure.
Robert Pattinson. Shut!